Video request from Stevie. Video request: what do you believe the next big movement, such as the hippie movement, will be? Why? And the aftermath and effects that will bestow us. Highly appreciated. Thanks. Good question. What's the next big movement? I think what he means is the next big movement in consciousness, such as the hippie movement. Well, I think you could call it hippie movement part 2. You could also call it the scientific revolution part 2. The hippie movement was an integration of all of the different world beliefs. Hippies became interested in, reincarnation and Hinduism. That's when the Hare Krishnas came about. The Buddhists came to America. People started, wearing tribal tattoos and that kind of stuff, and getting into drugs and just, integrating, not just being, having this black and white either or attitude and, being homogenous, racially homogenous, religiously homogenous, and that was a great thing, because that's the realization that every single religion in the world and culture and viewpoint is valid. It's kind of like the blind man and the elephant, If you only see one part of the elephant, the guy who's holding the leg is going to think that an elephant is a tree. The guy holding the tail is going to think it's a rope. The guy holding the ears is going to think it's a fan. The guy holding the snout is going to think it's a hose. The guy holding the tusks is going to think it's a tree or something. But then you have to open your eyes. But if you talk to all of them, you could paint a picture of it and find out that it's an elephant. And because all these people have different experiences and different histories and different things that they focus on. Whatever you focus and spend your time on, you're going to get good at. And so all the religions of the world just focus on different aspects, so that now we're a world society. We all pay attention to all of them, and then we can paint a giant picture and find out stuff. Einstein probably got his theories of relativity ideas from reading the Mahabharata. I bet you he did it, and hearing how energy is just matter, matter's energy, and going, maybe that's true. And then he extrapolated it, and then they tested it scientifically, and lo and behold, it's true, and you make atomic bombs. So that's what the hippie movement was. Now, the next big one is I think you could call it hippie movement part 2, because it's like it's integration of all of these different science ideas. But you could also, it's probably more appropriate to call it the scientific revolution part 2, namely the social sciences, because, and you could also call it just general enlightenment within society. The next thing we're going to realize is that is patterns, and we're going to be able to basically see through people's bullshit. For example, you're going to see, people are going to see that, like, say, somebody who thinks that you're lying all the time, everything you tell them, they're just like, lie, no. Basically, it's just projection. A projection, I think, is a word of the future. All these people with bad attitudes and stuff, they're just projecting. They're thinking everybody's like them. So if somebody thinks you're lying all the time, they're just a liar. Wait until the next thing they say something, and they're going to be lying. And why do they lie? Because they think everybody lies. Why do people rip people off? Because they think everybody rips people off. They think that's the way that the world works. And in the past, maybe that is the way that the world works. You had to look out for yourself in order to survive, and it was a dog-eat-dog world. But now, since we have scientificized, mechanicized farming techniques, we have plenty. People have more leisure time to do stuff. We actually, and we're destroying the earth. We actually have to realize that the best way isn't really dog eat dog, but it's the best way to survive is monkey scratch monkey back. So we have to cooperate, and the people who cooperate the most are actually the people who are going to be most successful. Because, with all the social networking, you have to, we have Yelp and we have all of this rating system, you have to, word gets around. So you have to have a, Better Business Bureau and all this stuff, in business ratings. The better you treat people, it's going to come back around a lot quicker. And the more fair you are, the farther you're going to get. The more of a rip-off artist you are, the more you're going to paint yourself into a corner. So, But as far as social scientists, we're going to realize all of the the behavioral patterns and what they indicate. For example, all of these crazy, like the Fox News people, who are just fear-based and just say what they're told to say and just are stooges to the big government. All the nonsense and the hypocritical shit that they say is going to just come out, and people are going to realize that if you have a bad attitude and then people will realize what you're doing. For example, I think Sean Hannity, back when Bush was in power, because he's like Mr. Republican, all the spying was great, and he was defending it. Oh my God, of course you want to spy what? But now since Obama's doing, he's like, oh no, you have to protect your privacy and all that stuff. People just change up their story, and that's why I love the Young Turks, because they actually keep track of this stuff and they make fun of politicians who are hypocrites. But so see, that's the future. Like, people are going to have to become very just say what they believe and be consistent in what they believe, and be very and all of these like little behaviors that you give away when you're not being honest, or when you're being selfish, is more evident. And for example, I remember when Jim Carrey did that little song and dance making fun of the gun guys. I mean, he was just making fun of like the crazy gun guys who think that they're going to try to take away their guns just because they want to make a law against like automatic weapons, and just have background checks. They can't go far. Oh my God, they're going to take all their guns. So he just made that thing making fun, and then the guy Greg Hutzfeld gets up there and says, "Oh, I hate Jim Carrey in general. I hate all his movies. I hate everything about him." Well, see, that kind of behavior, I hate everything about you, like smearing, just totally smearing somebody just because they say one thing against you. That in the future, see, that's social science. That in the future is going to be seen as a behavior that's just indicative of propaganda, and somebody who just has an agenda, who sees something in black and white. In the future, people aren't going to see stuff black and white. People aren't going to hate somebody in general just because they disagree of one thing that they say. They're going to, in the future, we're going to realize that we're all part of the same thing, and we're all part of the same family, and we're all generally good at heart, and we just have these different ideas about different things. So we're going to be actually having real arguments. We're not going to be having these arguments like where everybody has to lie. Like when we had this the last presidential debates with Romney and Obama, 90% of the debates was just, no way, you're lying, you're not telling the truth. No way, you're lying. No, that's not right. And it's like, what the fuck? You guys are running for president. You're supposed to be the smartest, most educated, intelligent people in the world, and you don't have your facts straight. If you're going to listen to, we spent more than $1 trillion in the last presidential campaign, and all of that was just the Republicans calling the Democrats basically criminals, and the Democrats calling Republicans criminals. And we spent money on that. That's not education. In the future, it's going to be more actual hardcore debate on actual issues themselves, and not even attacking the person in general. So in the future, anybody who attacks somebody in general, that they're stuck in that old mindset of just the black and white either or. And so in the future, the next big movement, it's going to be not black and white. There are not going to be two political parties. There's going to be like a zillion political parties, and then independents, and there's going to be a million different ways to see everything. And then because of all that increased intelligence and understanding, we're going to see patterns arise between, like this kind of person would believe this kind of a thing. Because you don't really know that so much yet. Because people are so secretive and about who they are and what they believe. I mean, we do sort of know. I mean, I know that somebody who thinks that abortion should be illegal probably thinks that the world was created 6,000 years ago, I know that, somebody who thinks that you're going to burn in hell forever if you're a Buddhist probably thinks that Jesus died for your sins. You know what I mean? This kind of stuff. But as we get more and more educated and transparent, and people share themselves more, and there's more and more polls and stuff coming out, and people argue points more, and like, for example, if somebody has a YouTube channel and they have a political YouTube channel, they would also have a philosophical YouTube channel, and you don't have to, and it would be, YouTube has kind of changed up the thing where you can have recommended channels, and when you Google somebody and look at their channel, you also see their recommended channels. So whenever I get around to it in the next few months, I'm going to break up my YouTube channel in a lot of different channels so that people can just subscribe to one aspect of me, that they like one aspect of me, like my van videos or my exercise videos or my political videos, and just, or my religious videos. So they can just subscribe to that and only watch that part about me, and they like that about me. But if they want to research me a little bit more, all they have to look is as my other channel, and they can see what I actually believe. Because the way it is now, if you see any of these people's channels, they don't have the other aspect of themselves. You don't know anything about what they believe about anything else, and that causes us to not understand each other. And in the future, when we understand each other, then we're going to gain insight into the different behavioral patterns. Like what belief causes another kind of belief, and what beliefs are related. And then when we have arguments, since it'll be apparent that you can't agree on everything with everybody, people will just chill out, and you won't have to cause somebody an enemy just because they disagree with you on something, and you'll just argue the point. And because you're not wasting your time calling each other a liar or insulting each other, you're going to have more time, and also people are going to take more time to argue stuff. You're going to get deeper into points, and then you're going to get into the juicy stuff, the good stuff, where people are actually arguing, people are actually helping each other. The people who are arguing with each other are actually helping each other discover what the real truth is. And then we'll find the real truth, and so that's going to be the new renaissance of behavioral sciences, the new renaissance of science. The renaissance is basically where we understand so much about what cause and effect, and we're going to come to a state, because we're going to integrate everything. We're going to come to a state where we believe the most positive, correct aspects of all the world's religions, because they all have that, and then we're going to throw away all their biases. And the only negative thing about any religion is the part where you don't believe about the other religion, the part where they clash, just because one guy just decides to not believe in something, and you can believe in all the good stuff about all of them. So once we believe in everything, we'll all agree on something. So then we won't even have to have religion anymore. Religion's just going to turn into traditions, like styles, your little pendants. And then we can wear like pendants that in the past were superstitious, and now they're just stylish, like this is the pendant that wards off spirits. Well, now it's like, yeah, it's what we thought of ward off spirits. And yeah, it does, you can believe it, but don't get dogmatic about it. And so, yeah, traditions, religions will just be traditions and, and little aspects of ways to look at stuff. But the main religion of the world will just be science. It'll all be obvious, and it'll be, and even behavior. And, like if somebody's crazy or something, then you'll know that it's because of their background, and because they have certain neural pathways that got overdeveloped, and then maybe even they have, brain chemistry problems. They used to take a certain amount of medication for the certain right amount of time, which would fix it, yeah. So that's the future. So video request. What do you believe the next big movement, such as the hippie movement? Okay, will be why, and the aftermath and effects that will bestow us. The aftermaths and effects will be that. That we won't waste so much of our time and energy and money fighting each other, because if we all just argue and communicate with each other in the world, then we'll trust each other, and we'll see that we're all related. So then we won't spend like America won't spend 20% of our budget on the military, and then we'll be able to put that money into actually bettering our lives and creating a sustainable environment, and new industries like tourism throughout the world, and which would even exponentialize our education and ability to create a peaceful society. and then the world will become a perfect utopia, even beyond our wildest dreams now. It'll be amazing, because think about it. All you need is for everybody to have enough love when they're grown up from their parents and enough spare time in the day to educate themselves, and then they will naturally, because people are just doers. Everything in the world is a doer. Stays busy all the time. Animals spend their entire lives looking and scavenging for food, but that's because that's what their instincts are. They like to do that. Human instinct is to always be moving and doing stuff. If you just sit there twiddling your thumbs, you're going to get depressed and anxious. You're going to move and do something. People always do something. Even people who don't do anything do something over and over again. And so once people have the extra time, once we get to a certain GDP where people can have a certain amount of hours in the day, then they will then use their time to make the world even a better place. So work will actually be something that everybody does voluntarily because they want to. And and everybody will be developing new systems and new ideas and new developments, increasing the scientific knowledge and the experiments and engineering new systems of mechanics and even social systems, and just creating the world a better place. When you put more people's heads together, the country does better. That's why America does so well, because we got all the best people from all the world to put their heads together, all their different religions and ideas about stuff, and then you create something amazing. And that even shows that scientifically, if you mix different plants together, they'll create a stronger plant. You throw scientifically, like biologically, it always throws the recessive genes away and keeps the strong genes. And if you mix stuff, that's why the royal families from like the Habsburgs, they just started making stupid decisions and became dumb because they were just interbreeding with each other. And so the more you mix, the better off you're going to be. So all we have to do, and see, that's a big case for like communism or liberalism or what do you want to call it. The whole welfare state. A lot of people say, oh no, you don't want to have a welfare state because then it'll cause people to just sit on their ass and do nothing. Well, that's only because people are in the mindset of, if you can sit on your ass, then you will. And they're like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm living the life, I don't have to do anything. Well, in the future, people are finally going to be like, wait, no, I'm living the life, now I'm going to do something. Like me, I've been blessed with not having to work that much. And as far as a job to make money. So then, but I end up working harder than anybody. All I do is work. All you have to do is watch a couple of my vlogs. Literally, all I do is work. So, and I'm creating this awesome timeline, this amazing timeline that's going to create like omniscience for society. Sorry, I'm pumping myself up, but it's going to be fucking awesome. It's going to be like Wikipedia. People are going to love it. It's going to be like, but that's because I had the time to do it. Imagine if you created the time for everybody to do whatever they wanted. They would create amazing things, and they build off stuff. So the whole idea of creating a welfare state and allowing everybody, the poor, like the black people and the brown people and the yellow people, and the women and the children, to the poor people, to give them some aid, give them a boost, give them some affirmative action, spread out the wealth, so that they don't have to be working all the time like dogs, where they don't ever have the time to educate themselves and they don't ever have the time to develop their own minds. When you allow them to develop their own minds, they're not going to like destroy the world. They're not going to take the wealth from the rich and then take it for themselves. And it's not this dog-eat-dog world. We're in the world of plenty. And if we're going to keep the world of plenty, if we're going to get to the next level, you can't have that dog-eat-dog, I'm going to take all I can attitude like we did in the past. Or else we're just going to kill the earth. So it's kind of like, and if we do have that, then we'll kill ourselves, because we can't have that attitude, because then it's like cancer, So if you allow the poor people to come up, shoot, somebody's calling me, I'll call them back. If you allow the poor people to come up in the world, it'll help the world in general, because we're all level, we're all equal, we're all genetically the same intelligence. So that's the next is just we're all the same. Everybody has the same viewpoint, and then we'll be able to see everything clearly, and it'll just be science. We won't have to have like religions and different ideas about different people being better than the other or anything like that. So but yeah, scientific revolution, social scientific revolution. if somebody acts a certain way, we'll automatically know. We'll automatically be able to see if somebody's good or bad, if somebody's honest with you or not, if somebody's lying or not. It'll just be the pattern. And everybody will understand that. So somebody will know, like don't say this. Like don't go up to somebody and go, hey, not to insult you or anything, but I think you're, just be honest. If you're like, hey, yeah, you think that, I don't know. I'm sorry, I can't come up with the actual examples. I should make another video about that though, because people right now, we have a lot of people have these red flags in their personality and things that they say, like getting upset, for example. If you're arguing with somebody and all of a sudden they're upset with you and they're yelling at you, and like as though whatever you said was totally ridiculous, then you know that they have this like one-sided attitude. They have the wrong perspective, like they're smarter than you, and they don't want to have the entire conversation. And so in the future, nobody will get upset, because if you're watching two people arguing, say on TV or whatever, and one person all of a sudden gets upset and starts yelling, then they're automatically going to lose credibility, because you know what that comes from. And so little behaviors like that. People will just, so there's no way you'll be able to lie, Like right now, somebody can lie and say something. For example, Bachmann said, I'm not a politico, but, and everybody started laughing at her, like slogans. Like if we have the next presidential election, and then somebody, like for example, Obama said, hope and change, I'm all about hope and change. Well, the reason he said that is because they did polls, and they found that the people who, the buzzwords that people wanted the most, because they were sick of Bush and the wars and everything, was hope and change. So he's like, okay, hope and change. So if you have the new president coming along in the future saying, saying, yes, like freedom and progressiveness, but they don't actually elaborate on them, people are going to be like, oh, this guy's just superficial. He's just saying because it's the buzzword. Because we all know it's the buzzword, because we all do the Google and we find out, oh, that's the buzzword. So the people who are actually like explaining stuff, those are the politicians in the future, people who actually explain stuff. The people who explain stuff in a very like calm way, detailed way, and don't get upset and angry at somebody, and just are always like trying to increase the knowledge about everything. Those are the people who people are going to just automatically trust. And so it's always gonna go down to like behavior. So behavioral sciences and psychology and all that kind of stuff, I think, is the next big movement. And so buzzwords, it's transparency. People are going to be a lot less freaked out about privacy. People are not going to be as much into privacy now as in the future. I mean, in the future as now, even 10 years. People are going to be like, I can't believe 10 years ago, people didn't have their pictures on YouTube, and people were freaked out about getting spied on, and by the NSA. Who cares if somebody's spying on me? Everything I say is right anyways, because it's totally hypocritical. See, we're gonna be able to tell the difference between somebody being hypocritical and not, because a lot of people are like, hey man, I'm always right, I'm never wrong. Hey, I hope you better not be spying on me. You better not be recording me when I don't know you're recording me, because that's actually illegal to record somebody when you don't know they are. That's not going to be a law in the future, because it's hypocritical. If you're right, if everything you say is correct, why would you care if people are recording you when you're not knowing it's recording? Because if you cared, that means that you know that sometimes you're saying something that you can't stand by. It's totally hypocritical. So that kind of stuff, little stuff like that. So in the future, people are going to be like not worried about it all. And because when everybody is totally open and transparent, then you're actually going to be just as anonymous as you ever wanted to be. Like mob mentality. With the whole mob attacks somebody, all those people are anonymous. They're not going to get busted, because they're all like the people who get naked. Hundreds of people get naked and run through the streets. You might as well have your clothes on, because everybody's naked. Like who's going to be looking at you? Everybody's naked. So it's kind of like that. Anyways, I think I've babbled on enough. It's the next scientific revolution. Okay, peace out.